me start by saying, Vietnam veterans, welcome home. It is our distinct honor to recognize you on National Vietnam War Veterans Day. My name is Ron Black, and I am the chair of the Governor's Veterans Affairs Advisory Committee, and I'm honored to be here. Would you all please rise as we ask our VFW Post 318 to post colors. Colors. Right. Attention. Forward. On. Right. Fix. Forward. March. Mark down. Forward. Right. Up. Right. Place. Colors. Heads. Recap. About. Recap. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Left. Face. Forward. March. I ask that you all remain standing for the invocation by Padre Chaplain of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Chapter 11-4, Olympia. Padre.
Almighty God, creator and sustainer of all life, today on the anniversary of the departure of the military forces from Vietnam, we ask that your blessing rest upon us as we gather here. We thank you for this opportunity to honor the Vietnam veterans who gave all that they had, especially the prisoners of war and missing in action. May we never forget those who made the supreme sacrifice to secure for this nation the blessings of life, liberty, and justice for all. May our observance be a timely reminder that our freedoms were purchased at a high personal cost. They should never be taken for granted. Most gracious God, who knows our needs before we ask, behold us here, asking in common prayer for light upon our way and peace within our hearts, in our minds, and our souls. Bless the families and friends of those who honor here today. Bless the veterans who have come with memories, stories, and tears to enrich this sacred time.
Thank you, Padre. Would you now join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May you be seated. I would like to introduce now our first speaker today, Rural Washington Department of Veterans Affairs Deputy Director, Solomon Gilbert. Solomon has 22 years of leadership and management experience in overseas agency operations and statewide programs. Solomon is also a veteran who served 21 years, thank you, Solomon, in the United States Army, where he performed a myriad of high-impact functions, including working at the Pentagon. So,
Good morning. Thank you, Ron, for that introduction. I'll say good morning to everyone. Same as just Representative Levitt, Mayor, thank you all for being here this morning. So I'll get started. Good morning. Or is it? Okay, still before 12. So, good morning. So it's my pleasure this morning to be with you as we honor veterans on National Vietnam War Veterans Day. Celebrate our state's Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. Your Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs is a proud partner with the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration. We're privileged to honor Vietnam veterans and their families from Washington State here at our state's capital. The Vietnam War Commemoration was one authorized by Congress, established under the Undersecretary of Defense, and launched by President Obama in 2012. This 13-year commemoration will draw to a close on Veterans Day, November 11, 2025. The National Commemoration's purpose is to thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families for their service sacrifice and to welcome them home. Today we join thousands of communities throughout the nation in doing just that. It also makes me proud that here in Washington, our legislative leaders passed law in 2013 recognizing March 30th as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. This year marks Washington's 13th Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. The Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act was established on the 29th of March as a national day to recognize the individual and unsung patriotism of our Vietnam veterans. So, National Vietnam War Veterans Day joined the 6 other annual military-centric national holidays codified in law, and among them, Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day. Our 45th president also issued a presidential proclamation in 2017, which stated, "We vow to never again confuse personal disapproval of a war with prejudice against those who honorably wear the uniform of our armed forces. With conviction, our nation pledges our enduring respect, our continuing care, and our everlasting commitment to all Vietnam veterans." I couldn't agree more with this sentiment and feel that this year's theme of honor their legacy is fitting as we gather to pay tribute to our Vietnam veterans who honorably wore the uniform and answered the country's call. We observe Vietnam Veterans War Day on March 29th for a few reasons, and I'll list out a few here. March 29th, 1973 was the day U.S. Military Assistance Command Vietnam was disestablished. Also on March 29th, 1973 was also the day the last U.S. combat troops departed from Vietnam. And finally, March 29th, 1973 was the day Hanoi released the last of its acknowledged prisoners of war. 9 million veterans served during the Vietnam War, and I want to highlight that for everyone in the room. Our national commemoration honors everyone who served on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975. There's no distinction made between veterans who served in country, in theater, or who were stationed elsewhere during the Vietnam War period. All were called to serve. None could self-determine where they were stationed, and all were seen in the same way by a country that could not separate the war from the warrior. Each person who served during this period earned and rightly deserved our profound thanks. So today, we gather in our state's capital for 3 key reasons. First, to honor the 1,124 members of the United States Armed Forces from Washington State, who, in President Abraham Lincoln's words, gave their last full measure of devotion. We also recognize those who served but are no longer among us, as well as their families, who in like to ask everyone who served on active duty at any time from 1 November 1955 to May 15, 1975, regardless of location, to please either stand if you are able, or raise your hand so we can recognize you for your service, sacrifice, and you see a Vietnam veteran, thank them for their service, welcome them home, and thank their families for their sacrifice. They deserve to know their service mattered. We owe them our deepest gratitude as we continue to honor their legacy. And thank you again for joining us today, and welcome home.
My privilege now to introduce Dr. Thomas Bunt, Executive Director of VA Puget Sound Healthcare. As a combat veteran and experienced healthcare executive, Dr. Bunt brings a practice set of skills to support the VA mission, enables the staff, and sustains future integrated healthcare and delivery operations. He is a retired U.S. Army Colonel and combat veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom with over 30 years of progressive leadership experience, culminating in senior healthcare executive roles. His academic background includes a Bachelor of Psychology, a Master of International Relations and History, a Master of Business Administration and Healthcare Administration, and Doctorate of Health Services Research. Later, he earned a Master of Strategic Studies from the U.S. Army War College. Dr. Bunt is an active fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives. And it is our pleasure to introduce and welcome Dr. Bunt.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm going to talk to you, Peter, about the rest of that file.
Better than last year.
I love to say it's getting better.
It's getting better.
Keep chopping, right? Keep chopping. Well, thank you, everyone, distinguished guests, visitors, representatives, Vietnam veterans, family members, Americans. Thank you so much for allowing me to come speak with you today. It means a great deal to me. It's also something I like to carry on in my family. It's a tradition. I brought my boys with me, so you have to go easy, right? My oldest is already taller than me, and he's 14 years old, right? My youngest over there, professional soccer player, just ask him, he'll tell you. His Tommy is 11, and they're both members of this great society, and they both still do sports on an actual military installation. So let's give it up for the kids. If I told them that I was going to do that, they'd never have come. That's not who I came with, so let's just keep it all straight. I want to say thank you also to Solomon as well for your service, and also recognizing the fact that we veterans are still sticking together in these sacred bonds. I truly do understand the deep bonds of service, and of course the sacrifices made and the challenges that come after. It seems like every time I check on my old compatriots and friends, there's a few less seats at the table, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And so also for our Vietnam veterans, those challenges are often far greater. You served in a war that asked everything of you facing unimaginable challenges, both abroad and at home. And as a result, when you came home, too many of you were not exactly that with gratitude, and oftentimes silence, or potentially something much, much worse. That should have never happened. And while we can't rewrite history, we can ensure that every Vietnam veteran today receives the care, respect, and recognition they've always deserved, and give us the grace to allow us to do that. General Colin Powell, a Vietnam veteran himself, once said, "A nation which forgets its defenders will itself be forgotten." That is why we gather today, and that is why we want to make sure that the previous history never happens. At VAPU Sound, we're committed to standing by and with any veteran from any battlefield. It's about making sure every veteran, both past and present, feels that respect and deserves that respect every day in the company of our medical care companion. At VAPU Sound, we're also committed to that same mission, whether it's through expanding access to care, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you today, strengthening mental health support, or simply ensuring every Vietnam veteran who comes through the doors hears the words, "Welcome home, we're here for you. What can we do for you today?" We pledge our steadfast support and care for you, as well as all of our veterans. We will always honor and sacrifice that sacred obligation to you and our families. We take it very seriously. That includes providing you this roughly 12,000 Vietnam veterans that are enrolled at our facilities across Western Washington. It's 12,000 folks. I have 169,000 that I support in Western Washington. Might come as a shock to you. It did to me too when I saw the numbers. Right? Because it's up against 16,000 from before. But because of that, we have to have an integrated approach and a true understanding of our population and the needs that population needs to provide the very best care possible, the right care at the right place at the right time. So when you come to us for that care, you're getting the very best care, because we don't just meet the national standards, we exceed them in most areas. In comparison to the community and other VA hospitals, including Puget Sound, we've actually outperformed non-VA hospitals across the nation with overall quality ratings and patient satisfaction scores. Just recently, VA hospitals received higher overall quality ratings from the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services than other non-VA facilities. Now, my dad's a veteran as well, too, and I can tell you that was certainly not the case when he was using the system, right? So in his memory, I hope I'm doing him a solid, which is what I want to do, because the Vietnam cohort is his generation, too. Along with our clinical expertise, our integrated approach to care for our veterans really sets us apart. We focus on what matters to you. We call it the whole health approach. We also offer numerous support programs and services that are unique to helping programs well beyond healthcare, which most people don't even recognize or realize. From housing insecurities, to giving transportation opportunities, to providing iPads for remote rural veterans so they can call in and do a tele-appointment with their provider, and even programs that provide relief to the caregivers of veterans. That is truly an anomaly in our healthcare system. When care is not possible at the VA, we help coordinate those needs in the community as best we can. Thanks to the PACT Act, which you're all familiar with the PACT Act, right? We talked about that quite a bit last year, right? You definitely showed up, right? Went over 8,000 new enrollees as a result of the PACT Act. 8,000 in a single year. It's absolutely amazing. But we're even stronger because of that, because now we have a better idea of the types of cases and demand and healthcare that you need, so we can better focus our strategies. Well, more Vietnam veterans than ever before now have access to this world-class care, and I'm particularly proud of that. This is historic legislation, and it dramatically expanded those benefits, and particularly to those exposed to Agent Orange. If you haven't explored what that means to you, please reach out, right? Go to va.gov/PACT, and I'll be more than happy to provide it to you. I got Peter with me in the book, we're ready.
Here, sir.
Peter's the short guy in the back, right? You'll definitely know his face, right? Use a blank card for me, and yes, he's a veteran too, and thankfully an MP. So I can say pretty much anything I want up here. God bless him. Because we want to make sure you get those benefits that you deserve, and you can figure out what your case looks like. We never stop fighting for you. Hopefully you feel the same. But today we also want to recognize those who stood beside you as well. Your families, your caregivers, and your loved ones. They often carried their own burdens and often in silence. They made sacrifices often too gone unto unrecognized. To them we say thank you. Your strength, your support, and your love, I truly believe, made a difference in their lives. Today is also a call for action for us. I encourage each of you not just to remember, but to act. Take time to listen to the veterans' stories. Support those who still carry the weight of the service, and always find a way, big or small, to show Vietnam veterans across the nation and their families that their services and sacrifice will never be forgotten. Our nation is stronger because of their service. And as we honor our Vietnam veterans today, we must also acknowledge the struggles that too many of our brothers and sisters continue to face. Just this week, I hate to say, we lost one of our own, a veteran who bore unseen wounds. Their service, like all of yours, matters. Their life mattered. And their loss is a reminder that none of us should ever feel we have to walk alone. So no matter how you serve, no matter what you are facing, we are here for you. Your community, your fellow veterans, and your VA stand ready to support you through life's challenges, which of course there are many. If you're struggling, please reach out. Our Veterans Crisis Line, which is available 24/7 a day. We don't require referrals for mental health care. And you don't have to be enrolled to get it. I ask that you all take a moment of silence to reflect, to remember, and to recommit ourselves to being there for each other. May we always stand together as a community and lift each other up, and as I like to say, refuse the flank. For those of you who tactically know what I'm talking about, I see some head nods in here. Glad you're on our team, right? Because we always want to refuse the flank. Make sure folks understand that we stand together, locked, braced, and ready for next contact, right? These are words I've often heard over crackling over radio many times. Okay, right now. Part of our commitment to you, and this is a shameless advertisement, shameless, but awesome at the same time. See this right here? This was based on commentary and feedback from veterans. This is the first patient guide in the history of VA Abuse Center. In the history of the Abuse Center. This is 52 pages of, oh my goodness, you guys do that, right? It's amazing. And I have enough for each and every one of you, and you can take two and hand them out to your friend who wasn't able to make it today. You hear what I'm saying? If you have any ESOs in here, you can take a box too, sir, and I'll have Peter help carry it to the car, not a problem. We got the bikers in here. You can take a box too in your saddlebag. Right? I used to ride a while ago, and then I had kids, and life changed. But I want to make sure each and every one of you have one. This is an amazing guide. It's the first edition. It says 2024 on that. I take full responsibility. It should say first edition in its history. And it took 3 years to put this thing together. It's a labor of love. I like tangible things because I'm an old school guy. That's why I like math still, right? I like to touch and see phone numbers and see web addresses. You know what I mean? So you can type them in correctly, even if you do it a couple times. This is important. Please take one with you. We also have a guide here called the Healthcare Benefits Overview. It helps my VBA friends, right? This is also another guide we have for you today. I don't have as many of them, but I think I have enough for everyone in this room. That's also important too, but these are big because we probably had that one before, but we never had this. Every picture in here is of your VA staff. They're not models wearing military uniforms incorrectly, which drives me crazy. Right? As an old colonel, that bothers me so much. They're actually our staff, and they're you, our patients. Is that not cool? Right? It's a heartfelt thing I have for our veterans. It'll never change for as long as I live. So thank you so much for having me today. Welcome home, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Pete Lewis, who served then served for 12 years as mayor of the city of Auburn. He's also a veteran who served on the destroyer as a radar man. After his service, like many Vietnam vets, he stayed away from veterans organizations for over 20 years. I think a lot of Vietnam veterans that's very familiar to them. Welcome home. Through the service of the King County Regional Council and chair of the Veterans Advisory Board, he helped to pass the King County Veterans Human Service and Seniors Levy. His membership in the VFW, where he and his wife Kathy are lifetime members, and American Legion, helped him to reconnect with veterans organizations. This led him becoming the co-president of the American Vietnam War Alliance, which built an American Vietnam War Memorial in Auburn. He has been honored by the Vietnam Veterans of America, received an Outstanding Service to Veterans Award by the VAC and WDVA, started a Veterans Service Committee at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and he signed the original Vietnam War commemoration agreement with the Major General Edward Crystal. Please join me at this time in welcoming Veteran Pete Lewis.
Thank you, Ron, and the speakers and all that are assembled here. I received an email that said, are you going to come to this celebration? Sure. Would you like to say a few words? Sure. I didn't know it was going to be this. I didn't know the two speakers in front of me were going to be so good. And Doctor, I'm also the chair of the King County Veterans Advisory Board, and I would love to have a talk with you after this is over. We have money available too. Hey, you always sell your services when you can. I wasn't in Vietnam, and I didn't count it, but it was 3 years, 10 months, 4 days. I came back, and I talked to some people recently and said that they had a good welcome home. I talked to a couple of people since I came back who said they had a good welcome home. The rest of us, we were told when we leave the ship, the base, the station, don't go in uniform. Whatever you do, don't go in uniform. If you're going to apply for a job, don't put down your service. If you're going to go to school, don't ever put down your service. I went back to college and got harassed a bit until one of the teachers, one of the professors who was teaching ethics, reminded them that he was a Korean War vet and they could all leave the class if they wanted to. Oh. I stayed away, like most of us did. I wouldn't have anything to do with anything. When I came back and got out of service, the veterans organizations did not allow me to join. That was one time, and I was done. My wife, on the other hand, was a lifetime member of the VFW. When we were married, she was already a lifetime member. And she might have mentioned it to me often. After 20 years, I joined the VFW, American Legion, other organizations. I became involved. I was also in Auburn, home of the largest Veterans Day parade west of the Mississippi. I was brought up in the military. My father was in the military. His father was in the military. I never knew a hospital that wasn't a military hospital until after I was out of the Navy. I had all those traditions, and I started working with the veterans. I would like to say, there's 2 points that I would like to make today because others have been made so well. The first one was all the Vietnam veterans up there and their spouses, because many of you are involved. You're now the leadership in the veterans organization. You're the seniors in the veterans organizations. Don't let those people coming back, those men and women coming back now, go through what you went through. Do not allow them to sit in the back of it. And you can see I had some emotion with that. We spent years before we would come back. Don't let them spend another month. Make sure they come back. So that's one thing I had to Second, I'm seeing clubs from other organizations as well. So when I'm up here, Auburn is the home to the largest Veterans Day Parade west of Mississippi. And I think it's like the second largest in the United States right now. It has its own Veterans Park. Within Veterans Park, it has a Veterans Memorial. Within Veterans Park, it has a Veterans Building where the VFW, American Legion, and other organizations can come down and talk to the veterans about their needs. We were approached by the VA director, John Lee, years ago. I need help. We're trying to put together a Vietnam American War Memorial, and we can't find a city that will take it. Well, Auburn take it. Now, I was there at the time. I said this without a lot of thought, but I said, sure, we'll take it. And we started talking about our council meeting, and we had a big discussion. But it wasn't about whether or not to have a memorial. That was never the center of attention. It was about where to put it. We had a Veterans Park that was really packed pretty full of memorials. They decided, the council decided, to put it in our central park, in the center of our central park, for all to see. So, we have an American Vietnam War Memorial in our central park, let's go, in the city of Auburn. And all veterans from Vietnam, born here or there, are welcome there. We have a display in the back. We have a place where you can set up to get a tab. We've received wonderful grants recently to help more veterans have a name remembered in perpetuity. That's a wonderful thing. I would like to thank everyone for inviting me to this memorial service. I have to say, one of the biggest honors I've ever had was I was on a trip to Washington, D.C., and I saw a sign along the way that said, here's Vietnam Veterans Commemoration Committee. And we stopped. And we went into the office. I met the gentleman we were talking about. And he said, would you like to sign the letter? I said, whatever. To be a partner city. What's a partner city? I actually said that. I said, sure, first. And then I asked all the questions. So we were one of the first cities in the state of Washington to do that without hesitation. Without hesitation, have the veterans, the Vietnam veterans, start to take their leadership part. Without hesitation, have the Vietnam veterans start doing the work that they need to do to bring those people who are coming home now a service we did not get. Thank you.
whether I can get everything out without a shaky voice. I truly appreciate being here with all of you to share in your recognition and the fellowship with my fellow veterans. So I just want to say thank you right off the bat. I do want to tell a short story today that's very meaningful to me, and I hope that it's also going to be important to you. A little background, every year I attend the Prisoner of War Missing in Action recognition event that's held at the Memorial on the Capitol grounds in September. In part because as a veteran, I still believe in never leaving anyone behind. And also because my great uncle Pete was declared missing in action from World War II, so I show up for him. And incidentally, the POW MIA Memorial was intended at first to be the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. But as many of you may know, a small group of Vietnam veterans decided that when the governor at that time had placed all the names of those from Washington that had died or been missing, what they did was they put all those names on a list and entombed those in a small memorial on that site. Those Vietnam veterans said, absolutely not. That is not going to be the way that we remember our friends, because once you place something out of sight, they felt that that's an easy way for them to be forgotten, and they said that's not going to happen. So what they did was they held a 24-hour vigil at the Temple of Justice, and as a form of protest. And because of that, they prevailed, and that small site became the POW MIA Memorial instead, and will began on what is now our Vietnam Memorial Wall that is outside now. And again, that just demonstrates how this community and this generation of veterans has the promise held dear to them of never leaving anyone behind. So the story that I want to tell is about one of the missing, killed in action and not recovered. Air Force Sergeant David Price was 26 years old when he and 18 others were assigned to Lima Site 85, a highly covert tactical air navigation radar site on the top of a nearly 6,000-foot mountain in Laos. This was a top-secret joint Air Force CIA mission coded Project Heavy Green, which provided support for U.S. bombing missions with a TSQ-81 radar. The site was eventually seen as a high-value target by the North Vietnamese Army, and from March 10th through March 11th, 1968, the site was bombarded with artillery and seized from the small team of radar technicians. 8 of those men were rescued by helicopter, but 11 of them, including Sergeant Price, were died or assumed to be dead. There were attempts to search for survivors, and in that attempt, one of 4 pilots was shot down and also not recovered. Because of the nature of the covert operation, bombing runs were ordered by the Americans on the site to cover up the operation, which further complicated the retrieval of those American remains. Hopes of recovering the missing Americans were set aside, and the attention was put on destroying the radar to prevent it from falling into the hands of the enemy. Over time, many attempts were made to recover the missing, but the terrain that was already difficult and dangerous by nature was made more so by the devastation caused by the bombings. It was not until 2023 that the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency discovered unexploded ordnance, incident-related materials, and possible blown remains from the search site. Using circumstantial evidence and mitochondrial DNA, Price's remains were identified and publicly announced in June of 2024. This is actually good news, guys. Sergeant David Price was returned to his hometown of Centralia and laid to rest with family on August 30th, 2024. In November of that same year, we at WDPA worked with our partners at the Department of Enterprise Services to make the update to the Vietnam Memorial to change the prior symbol next to to a diamond, which confirms his death through the recovery of his remains. However, that does bring closure to his family and friends. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that 8 of the 11 others with Sergeant Price are still missing. One of them was Tech Sergeant Melvin Holland. And Tech Sergeant Holland was also from Washington, and he is listed directly above David Price on the memorial wall. I share this story because though bittersweet, it is one of relief and it's one of hope. Hope for the families of those that are still missing, and to say that we are still looking. We are still looking for those that are lost. The road is long, but we are finding them one by one, and we are bringing them home. And we will continue the search. And by God's grace, regardless of the time, we will bring all of our brothers and sisters home. Thank you for being here today.
This time we're going to do a pinning ceremony. We ask that all the Vietnam veterans on this side come forward, please. All the Vietnam veterans on this side come forward, please.
Say that again.
Vietnam veterans.
Oh. And then down the middle, we would like to have spouses or partners of these Vietnam veterans, please come and take up the middle section of the aisle. So if you're a Vietnam veteran on this side, please come over to this side and form a line right over here. And then if you would stay up here once you get your pin. Again, veterans, if you could, please stay up here once you get your pin.
They're distributing the spouse pins right now. Vietnam veterans, if you would, come this way, please. Stand on either side of the podium here. And we will get a group photo.
You guys squeeze in there, sir?
Free speech. Oh, yeah, thanks.
We'll do them at the memorial.
You're good. I want to get my dad.
Some of the Vietnam veterans, once you get your pin, come in this way, so come over to this other way. Vietnam veterans up front, will do this spouse here.
You gotta stay up front.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they can probably answer.
Line here, spouses, if you would please, stand by your veteran. If you have one.
I got my own bed.
Actually, my daughter
So, and everybody,
There's like that divine line.
I know, right?
Y'all don't go over there, we can go over there. Higher too.
are all of them here to stand first? All right, right here, some ears. Right here.
Tell me we don't have that over there.
So right here, you got it? Right here. Yeah, hold up right here, just wait, do it all ways. I know you look like those too.
The goofy picture.
Always works to get a good smile out of them.
Handed out the spousal pins, you want to take them out. They stand a lot of times in cemeteries.
Do you or is it the Washington?
So, supposed to go to Washington rep, and they send it to the chapters. We try to get them to send it to your chapter members, but it costs more posters, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys saw my brother's tape. I was like, what are you going to get? I was like, I need to
It's supposed to be sent to your state rep, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it takes a fucking while for that shit. I'm like, I might as well just order a new one. Honestly, yes, you get it faster.
Dennis Wesson, and we thank you very much.
They sent us a list of
They do wonderful service to our veterans and our veterans families.
you guys
Thank you very much.
confirm the states and see if you can get theirs.
All right, we got the group photo at 12:20. We ask that everybody head out to the memorial.
This guy just ordered his and they got it.
And your streets and